Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. Live from Austin, Texas, broadcasting worldwide, it's Alex Jones.
Okay, we've got some big breaking news with Dr. Jerome Corsi, his PhD from Harvard University, political science. He's currently a senior staff reporter for WorldNet Daily, where he works as investigative reporter. Of course, in 2004, he co-authored the #1 New York Times bestseller, Unfit for Command, Swift Boat Veterans Speak Out Against John Kerry, Regnery. He's an expert on political violence and terrorism. In 1981, he received the top secret clearance from the Agency of International Development, where he assisted in providing anti-terrorism training to embassy personnel. For 25 years, beginning in 1981, Dr. Corsi developed work with banks throughout the United States and around the world to develop financial service marketing companies to assist banks in establishing broker-dealers and insurance subsidiaries to provide financial planning products and services to their retail customers. You know, I like to have Dr. Corsi on about the whole banking scam, the bailout, the criminality. We need to have him back soon on those issues. And Dr. Corsi is always very careful. And so when he writes a book saying, where's the birth certificate? By the way, available at Infowars.com if folks want to get it. Excellent hard copy with all the exhibits and documents. You find out this guy isn't who he says he is. He's covering up his history. They released that other birth certificate receipt, said that was the long form. Nothing else existed. Governor Abercrombie couldn't find it when he went into the stacks and tried to. Then magically it appeared. Then breaking here last Friday, Dr. Corsi went over the fact that he believes he knows who did it, and that now he's going to move to file criminal charges. And that news is up on prisonplanet.com today in Paul Joseph Watson's article. It's also at Infowars.com and WorldNetDaily.com. He sent me the actual Kenyan government documents where they admit that they can't find it and appears the record has been altered or removed. He went to Kenya, of course, to start ferreting out this information. And when he comes out and says, this is a fake, it's been altered, our people looked at it, we had other experts look at it, it's been altered. Again, I've not been a big birther. I've had other issues to cover. But we've spent time looking at it over the years because they spent over $2 million at the White House blocking releasing what they've now released. Now, we're going to go over all the latest news with Dr. Corsi for the balance of the hour. But before we go there, last week on this radio broadcast, he called out Donald Trump, who's a big Democratic contributor, big eminent domain supporter, socialist healthcare supporter. As Lou Rockwell and others have pointed out, if this guy's a conservative, the seediness of the penny stocks, the seediness of the casinos, I mean, we might as well hire, well, I'm not going to get into it. The point is that Donald Trump is a joke. And with all this slick salesman talk, America's like, we like him. Conservatives, a lot of them, we want him. He did this birth certificate thing. He brought it to a head. Then he kind of floundered around and acted embarrassed. Then he came out and did a bunch of cussing tirades he's never done before, tailored to discredit. And then magically he gets the $60 million NBC re-up contract with bailout money from Bush, then Obama going to NBC. That's on record. So Corsi calls him out boldly. Well, Donald had called him twice, wanting the book before it was published. He got it to him. We wonder where that went. And now he's got all his casino deals in Chicago, and Rahm's their man in Chicago. And so Corsi calls this out. Well, the Donald called him today. This is breaking here. The Donald called today. The Donald's concerned. Dr. Corsi, thank you for joining us. Please reveal to us your discussion with the Donald.
Yes, Alex. In fact, I just got off the phone with him a few minutes ago. Donald Trump called today, and of course he, as usual, is pumping me for information. He wants very much to know what I'm doing next. And I said, well, you know, Donald, we published an article in WorldNet Daily, you should have seen it, about how the Kenyan government searched for 1961 birth records and determined that 1961 birth records were criminally tampered to destroy evidence of Obama's birth. He said, well, I didn't see that. I said, well, give me your people. I'll send it to you. He said, well, that's all right. I'll look for it. I mean, he is completely uninterested except to know, what I'm doing, what's next. I indicated to Donald Trump, and this may be breaking news too. Now the criminal charges, we're working with a top expert in scanners, worldwide expert, who is preparing. We'll be reporting on it in WND, WorldNet Daily, hopefully the end of the week, maybe Monday or Tuesday at the latest. Criminal charges are going to be filed, criminal complaints filed with the FBI, charging that the long-form birth certificate released by the White House on April 27th is fraudulent. And I've been working back and forth with the expert on that. I've read the charges. They're very credible. They're going to be very difficult to answer. I told Donald Trump that's coming. So Trump, if he's feeding information to the White House, he certainly knows what I'm doing, and I'm not hesitating to tell him. I'm happy to let the White House know what I'm doing. I published Where's the Birth Certificate with that title, hoping I could get the White House so frightened that they would release this long-form birth certificate, which they did. The president has now endorsed his own involvement in the chain of evidence, saying he sent his attorney out to get it, coming down to the White House press room and saying, this is my birth certificate. Now the administration rises and falls on the authenticity of that document. So Donald Trump, I told Donald, I said, look, Donald, if you want to be credible here, told him basically he didn't accuse me or badger me for saying that I thought he was working with the Obama White House, but I told him out direct, if you don't want people to be suspect, Donald, of what role you're playing in this, then get out there vocally, question the document, say you want forensic testing of the original paper long-form document that's in the vault of the Hawaii Department of Health, say you want the Dr. Sinclair's records released, see if Ann Dunham was a patient, and say you want the records of Kapiolani Hospital released so we can see if Ann Dunham was ever there. Family changed their tune. It was originally that Obama was supposed to be born at Queens Hospital. Now it's Kapiolani. Let's see the patient records for Ann Dunham. Trump didn't seem interested in any of that, but he was very interested in knowing what I was up to next.
All right, I want to pump you on the Trump issue because we can get some key intel out of that. But for Internet viewers at prisonplanet.tv, this is all linked up in your WorldNet Daily story. Also, Paul Joseph Watson's story at prisonplanet.com if radio listeners want to see it. But for prisonplanet.tv viewers, I'll show folks a document cam shot. Here is one of several documents that you sent to me a few days ago. Now your report's out today. Republic of Kenya, Office of the Vice President, Ministry of State for Immigration and Registration of Persons. This is the classified document you got them to release. And it says, however, there is no evidence within our records that supports this position. The information we in the ministry have is that some documents have been removed by unknown persons at unknown dates or are missing from birth registry records, thus denting the prospects of uncovering the facts of this matter. So it goes on that they're saying that numerous intelligence reports have suggested he might have been born in Mombasa, the President Obama, at the Lady Greg Maternity Wing of the Coast Provincial General Hospital. And they go on the letterhead of the government with the phone numbers there and say that it's been removed. It's been tampered with.
Criminally.
Criminally. They go on to say it's criminal. So this is a pretty powerful smoking gun here. And then if I was Donald Trump and you went on this big syndicated radio show and dropped the bombshell, and it was read by millions of people all over the web, our stories, our videos, went completely viral with that interview with you last week, and then Donald Trump calls you up Tuesday, and if I was innocent, and you were saying that I worked for the president and I was Donald Trump, or that I was conduiting info months ago when you gave me the book if I was Donald Trump, I'd say, Corsi, how dare you, pal? Or if I was guilty, I would just, ignore it. Or if I was innocent, I'd probably ignore it. I mean, those are the different things you would do. You wouldn't call up and just pump for more info and be nice. That's a pretty creepy phone call you got. Can you describe what Donald Trump said to you, how long the conversation was, how he behaved?
Well, the conversation lasted about 15 minutes, and Donald Trump was friendly. He did not confront me aggressively that I've said I think he's working for the Obama White House. I've been out there on your show, Alex, very publicly about that. And Trump was saying, well, and I told Trump his purpose of the call was he wanted to know what I was doing, what was next. Is the story going to get any traction? And I told him about the documents from Kenya that we've been publishing in WorldNet Daily. The documents, I was there in Kenya in 2008. I've continued to receive documents from Kenyan sources. You see some of them right now. You're reporting on them. We've reported WorldNet Daily criminal tampering of birth records the 1961 birth records in Kenya to disguise or remove Barack Obama's birth records in Kenya. So I thought that was an explosive story. Trump wasn't real interested in it. I told him the criminal charges are going to be filed with the FBI by a top expert. Again, Trump was interested in that, but I said to him, he went back and forth and said, Mr. Trump, are you going to get back into the story? I told him, people are saying, you got this big payoff from NBC. It sure looks like you dropped out over that payoff in relationship with the White House. And Trump said, well, even when you're as rich as I am, it's $60 million times two, $120 million isn't chump change. I said, well, I understand that, Mr. Trump. Nobody's offered me $120 million recently, but you can understand where a lot of people think that compromises your position, maybe why you dropped out. He said, well, I didn't drop out. I said that the documents, I still want to know if the documents are real. I said, Mr. Trump, if you're not out there aggressively demanding that these documents be authenticated, then in fact people are going to say you dropped out conveniently in your work. I even told him your criticism on Fox News of the Republican candidates sounds like you're carrying Obama's water, saying the Republican candidates are so poor you may have to jump back in the race. Is that your message, or is that the message of the Obama White House?
Stay there, Dr. Corsi. Let's continue to look at this. For those that don't understand how media works, let's look exactly why Trump is a suspect. We'll be right back. Ask yourselves, what are you doing in this time of great challenge? What are you doing to unlock minds?